fishes are collected. Not all. Slurp guns, these things are like a syringe in reverse. Instead of giving you the big squirter, you're pulling the thing out and sucking things into it. It's a lot of fun, but not very productive. The amount of catch per unit effort is pretty low. As a kid, I used to go and collect these things. They're sold in the trade, the Catalina goby. Unfortunately, it's sold as a tropical fish, and it's not a tropical fish. I was diving in San Diego a few weeks ago. It was like 49 F at about 40 feet. That's cold. That's too cold. But this is how this fish is actually generally caught. And of course, for science, people have all the time and money in the world. You know, this sort of thing. They're just making a show. So, oh boy, here we are, $1 million later. You know, collecting some organism at depth and a slurp gun. Okay, here it is. If you're totally crazy, you know, you start hearing the music. Da-na, da-na. Oh my gosh. Yes. What? You can go diving at nighttime, because as aquarists, what do most of your reef fishes do at nighttime? They're not out there, hoo-hoo, party time, you know, one way or the other. No, they're laying on the bottom. So what do? You go out there diving on the reef at nighttime, they're laying on the bottom. Here's $5, you know, $175. And there's a parrotfish. Some parrotfish make a cocoon at night, uhus, they're called in Hawaii. But you can actually pick them up. They're still sleeping. Their eyes are open, but they're sleeping, and put them in your bag, and they're done. So this is a very profitable way to fish. But, you know, you do lose some sleep one way or the other. And, of course, when you bring animals home, you have to process them, what have you. So,
any problems with who's creeping around at night with you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Unfortunately, there are a lot of predators also that come out at night. And unfortunately, a lot of organisms are positively phototropic. They come toward the light. So you have your light going, and here's all the polychaete worms in the world, you know, obscuring your view and what have you. It's a pain in the keister. Can I say that?
Sure.
Yeah, it's okay.
So,
yeah, they can see the red light as well. And red light, the infrared side of the spectrum propagates in water very poorly. It just doesn't go very far. Okay, there are some traps. You asked how are some of these other organisms caught. A lot of morays and other eels are collected in traps of various sorts. Believe it or not, damselfishes are collected in traps. Some surgeonfishes, some oddball groups like the big eyes will go into traps that are baited or not. Most harlequin tusk fish and some other large wrasses, some expensive fishes, are caught hook and line. In fact, I've known many people have big reef tanks. They're like, I've got this fish, it's real trouble. How am I going to get out of there? I go,
it worked.
Okay, there we go.
Maroon, 10 seconds.
I owe you another Clamato drink then. Yeah, those things can really work. Next time you're out looking at this harlequin tusk fish, in particular this one is from Australia. It's much more blue and all. If you look inside the mouth, you'll probably see a little puncture mark. And what the people are doing, just snorkeling, you're looking down off of a reef break, and you'll see the fish coming in and out of the rocks like this, and you jig for them, just like this, with a small barbless hook, a little something meaty on it, and the fish will grab it, and you pull it up, and that's it. So, other things, you're asking about triggerfishes, thank goodness, with a steel leader. You can't catch them like the queen here. A lot of small sharks are caught hook and line, and even some of the basses and related fishes to basses are caught hook and line. Believe it or not, there are anesthetics, not poisons like cyanide, but chemicals that only affect the central nervous system temporarily. The effects are entirely reversible. Unfortunately, some of them have other bad side effects. There's a lot of animals that when they're collected with anesthetics, they freak out once they realize they've been drugged and they're back in captivity and put into a clear container. They start whacking themselves against the side. But in particular, if you see a lot of angels that are, perfect. Their fins aren't split. They don't have any marks on their mouth one way or the other. They probably were collected with, like I say, true anesthetics. I don't know if you can buy these in here. Some people use like soda water or, do you guys have what is that guy, Speedy Alka-Seltzer? He saved my life a few times. But those things, they produce a lot of CO2. Those can be used. Look at these trunks back here. And see when the heads are bobbing up and down like Beatles dolls in the back of old Chevys with no brakes. My gosh. But yeah. And then unfortunately, there are still many organisms that are collected with poisons, and these are not reversible effects, and they don't just affect the central nervous system temporarily. And as an example, this is a Philippine tusk fish. You saw it today, this Navarcus, the subgenus Eutyphopops. Many of these are collected with poisons. And even this fish is the Napoleon wrasse. It's very, very big. It's the largest wrasse in the world. And it's collected for the live fish food market more than anything, for the lips, what have you, to sell to rich Chinese people. They want to eat it. Those are collected with poisons. And the use of these poisons has really spread a lot. It used to be just confined to the Philippines when I was you guys' age. Then it went to Indonesia, the two largest countries in the world in which marine tropicals are collected. And now, unfortunately, is in Vietnam. And Vietnam is not a consignor onto CITES, the Convention on International Trade. So there's no way to make them behave other than just don't buy from them. So,
are there any specific markers that you can see from when they're caught with cyanides, like specific behaviors or
you see this on the board,
signs?
Fish dies. Oh, it must be
I
cyanide.
will say this to you. I'll give you my phony hypnotic doctor condensed version of this whole thing. There actually is. Number one, it's very hard to say in a static image, but if we had kinetic images, moving pictures, it would be very easy for me to show you cyanided and non-cyanided specimen of the same species by their behavior. The specimen that's in small volume, like your cubicles, you cannot reach inside and touch an angelfish that's inside there, even just in a gallon container. It's that quick. But the one that's cyanided, it's spaced out, it's having a private party in the corner, it's unaware of your presence, one way or the other. If you go into fish stores that have very good livestock, you take a look through the side of the tanks, not the fronts, but through all the tanks to the side, where are you going to see most all the fishes? They're all near the front, because they've been conditioned, right? Oh, here's Spencer. He's got the food jar. Woohoo! I thought your fish were going to jump out today, Dwayne. Yeah, they're aware of what you're doing. They're watching you all the time, and so the fishes that have been cyanided, they don't know what they're doing. And a lot of it is like ground zero. The fishes that are right there, getting the full dose of potassium or sodium cyanide, they for the most part die. Those are the ones that people are going to end up eating themselves. After you cook the fish, the cyanide is actually a very transient molecule. It's not toxic to ingest after it's been cooked. So those ones die. The ones a little further out, like a nuclear bomb, they kind of get just narked out a little bit, and they're fine to sell. They probably won't live that long in captivity after they're sold. But, hey, they're gone. I got paid, this sort of thing. And then the ones that are far away, they don't have any effect at all. They just swim away.
How long does that last?
The effects last actually a very, very long time. Histologically, the study of tissues, one of the definitive differences of fishes that have been cyanided is they generally do not eat. They won't eat anything. And if you look at the gut, it's patent. Everybody knows these terms. It's clear and syncytial. It lacks cellular involvement entirely. You may know this story, like our GI tract is actually not inside our body. It's actually an ectodermal invagination, that sort of thing. So, so all the stuff that you eat is actually still outside your body, but your body has mechanisms for treating it and absorbing it. Well, the animals that have been cyanided, they don't have that mechanism. They can't eat. They can't absorb any food. So they won't eat, they won't eat, they won't eat. Generally, they try to eat, and they're gone. They're gone. So generally, most of them will die within a few days to a couple of weeks. Another difference that I could tell you, the animals are unnaturally colorful. For whatever reason, it also affects them through acetylcholinesterase. They have a much more bright coloration. They look unnaturally colorful. So that's it. I will tell you this though, the stores I visited today here, I didn't see any organisms that I know for sure were cyanided. I don't know. But I will tell you this too, as an old-timey dealer, there's no way a person can tell. Like you're buying a fish remotely for your store, or you're buying it from an e-tailer, what have you, you can't tell. And nobody in the right mind would sell a cyanided organism, but it just occurs. And there have been agencies all through the years. Now the MAC, do you guys have them here? The Marine Aquarium Council? There we are. Thank God they finally fired Paul Alphys. And the long and short of it is, two of the worst cyaniders in the Philippines are two of their best customers. So there are many, many people that have signed on and just sell this stuff forever.